Hello and welcome back to Small Talk. We've got a great episode ahead as we speak with a pair from Endicott. I'm your host, Katie Mushi. Each week on this show, we highlight the past and present of Division III, with both current and former student athletes joining to talk about their experiences, their favorite on-campus spots, the craziest road trip stories, and more. This week, we've got Zach Mazur, a current member of the men's ice hockey team, and Ross Olsson, a former member of the squad. The two talk about the best spots to grab a bagel, what it was like to be part of the inaugural program, why they love Endicott, and more. Thanks for joining this week. Now it's time for some small talk.
My name is Zach Mazur, and I'm a current member of the men's ice hockey team at Endicott College.
And I'm Ross Olsson. I'm a former member of the men's ice hockey team at Endicott College.
Thank you both so much for hopping on here today and joining me. I know, Zach, you are in season. I think you're about to start the conference tournament. Is that correct?
That is correct. Saturday is our first game.
So I appreciate you hopping over here right after practice to be on the podcast. And Ross, I know you are out in the real world now, so a bit busy, and I appreciate you taking time too. The first thing I want to hear from you two is about your on-campus life. So this has always been a really fun part of the podcast, just kind of hearing how things have changed. I know, Ross, you aren't too far removed from your college life, but there has been a few years, and also just the team changing, wondering where people are still hanging out at. So Zach, you can kick this one off. What are some of the spots that you and your teammates are hanging out when you're not practicing or not competing? Are there coffee shops, restaurants, quads, whatever? What are kind of those spots? And then Ross, if you want to follow up and just let me know if it's the same spots when you guys were there or if there were different things.
Yeah, over the past 5 years I've been here now, it's kind of changed. I mean, when I first got here, majority of the team was on campus, so usually we'd hang out at the senior dorms where the seniors lived, whether it was the mods, townhouse, or they call it farm, which is just one big college house. So throughout the years, many guys just started moving off campus. So we got a couple houses off campus now where the guys just hang out and do whatever. And I guess it just changed throughout the years, but the best spots on campus, I would say a townhouse, and we're the mods, but the college actually just knocked them down last year to build brand new suite style dormitory living. So
that's a shame, but it happened. Oh,
I heard they were awesome.
Yeah, no, they were fun. They were really fun, especially on a nice spring day. The first 50-degree day in the spring, you couldn't beat it. That's for sure. I lived there. When did I live there? I lived there my junior year. Yeah, I lived in the mods. My freshman year, so it was our first year as a program. I think the school was a little worried, so they actually stuck 16 of us off campus in townhomes, and it was actually super, super nice. But it was like 2 miles from campus, so. But you know what? Like, we made the most of it as a first year program. Like, we made the most of it. I had a blast. I know the guys had a blast, and it's funny. Like, we still have a group chat from most of the guys that are in the real world playing now. Whether it was they started with us as sophomores or juniors, but so I went off campus, and then I was at Marblehead for my sophomore year, and then I was at the mods for my junior year, and then my fourth year I was actually in grad school, so I was off campus. But we kind of had similar spots. Like, there was guys at the farm. We had guys at the farm. We would go to the mods. Standish actually was a good spot for us freshman year. It was the first year for Standish, and we took full advantage of that. And it was an absolute blast there. It was funny because they were all seniors, but we were the same age as them, so they'd be yelling at us that we were freshmen, but we were the same age as them. So we were like, "Hey, relax, we're all right." But it was funny that happens. But it sounds like it's kind of the same spots. And then, what about the townhomes like Williston? Is that still a spot for you guys or no?
I have no idea, but how many mods
No,
were there? How many mods?
we had 16.
All right, so I guess to clarify what the mods were, it was basically a trailer park.
Oh yeah,
It was
yeah.
basically
That's
like,
not what I was
yeah,
expecting.
it was basically trailer park
Oh
homes,
yeah.
and just I could see why Endicott wanted to put a brand new dorm building, but I mean, everybody past and present that experienced the mod said that was the best living they've ever been in. But I haven't
It
gotten
was the
to
best and
experience it.
it was the best and worst living.
I
Okay.
almost had a shot, but uh COVID happened and they housed people who tested positive there. And then when I was a close contact, all the mods filled up, so they put me up in the Wiley Hotel. So I never got to experience living in a
Oh
mod.
no way.
Gee,
That's funny.
interesting. Very nice. So, Zach, since you're still in the thick of it, when the family's coming to town or you're maybe eating on a budget that's not a college student budget, what are some of the local spots you make sure to hit up?
Oh, can never go wrong with Hell Street Tavern right down the street from school. Great wings. They do 50-cent wing nights on Wednesdays, so that's definitely a busy night, but I really enjoy their wings. Another good one, I live off campus in Salem now, so there's a lot of great restaurants I like to go there, like the Derby, Rockefellers, Turner's Seafood. I'm a big seafood guy, and then if you like a good hibachi, there's Mikado and Beverly. Those are my pretty go-to restaurants, I'd say.
Okay. Got my list for
What's your
next time I'm in town.
what's your go-to in the morning? Like if you wake up on
Ooh.
on a Saturday, like what's your bagel spot now? I'm curious. Is What's Brewing still the spot, or are you going to Boston Bagel, or is
I
there
like
some?
Bagel Shop right by the Beverly Farms train station, right by that doggy
Oh,
depot. I'm a big fan of
yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
but a lot of people would
Okay.
disagree and say Bagel World. But
Where's
there's Bagel World in Beverly and Salem, but that's the one we
Oh,
have to
yeah,
wait for like 45 minutes in line just to get breakfast. And I'm not
yeah,
one to wait that long in the morning for food when I wake
yeah.
up.
I was always a What's Brewing guy, right in the center, right on Cabot Street. It was really good. I loved it there. I don't know why.
All right, I'll have to try it.
Yeah, and
And
then
I forgot there's a brand new place that opened up right down the road in Beverly Farms called Avocado Pit. It's like
okay.
blows Chipotle out of the water. It's just healthier, way better. Like it's unbelievable. I know
Okay. I've got my list now when I'm in town, of where I need to go.
you want a nice
Uh,
sandwich, super sub. I would
Super sub. Okay, perfect. Perfect, perfect.
Yeah, hands down, hands down.
Awesome. So now let's talk a little bit about off-campus life. So traveling. Obviously in D3, you don't necessarily have to fly everywhere. There's probably plenty of schools up in the Northeast that you can get to in a bus or a van. So Ross, I'll have you start this one off because you weren't too long ago, maybe first couple of years in the program, they were testing the waters on how to travel you guys, and now a few years in and a lot of success. You guys might be doing a little nicer. So
Yep.
what was the travel situation like for you, Ross? Were you guys in vans, buses? Was coach driving? What was the
Yeah,
situation?
we were actually, yeah, we were on a coach bus every time, which was awesome. Like we got treated so well, especially for a first year program or first 4 years of a program. Like they treat you when you go to Endicott, they treat you like kings and queens. Like they treat you like a D1 athlete because that's just kind of how it is there. And you know what? Like it showed in it shows not just in hockey but everything that they do. It's state of the art everything, right? Like they'll put money into it and they know that they'll get returns on it and it's the best thing. And like we went up to where did we go? We went up to Plattsburgh for a tournament. We went up to Norwich for a tournament. So like those are probably the furthest trips that we went on. We went up to Colby. I think those were like the furthest ones. So it wasn't bad at all.
So for you, Zach, what is obviously the situation's probably the same. Coach buses, nice
Yep.
travel. So maybe then we'll flip on a little bit more to what are some of the good trips you've been on? You guys have had some success. You've been in the tournament.
Mhm.
There are some west side of the country schools that you might have gone to at some point. Maybe not. But
Yeah.
what are any good trips you've been on during your time?
Oh gosh. I mean, it wasn't such a great trip, but I'll always remember it because it was just, I don't know, just a long day. We had a game at Con College, and we get there. We're late because of traffic, of course, and we're scrambling to get in the locker room, and we hear that they don't have a locker room for us ready because they have a college women's tournament going on. So we're across the street getting ready in their field house. We're halfway dressed, everything. The guy comes in, like, all right, your locker room's ready. So we get all our stuff and we're running across the street, everything, and we have to be on the ice in like 8 minutes for on ice warm-ups. And we end up winning the game, but we're about 3 hours away. We're taking off 10 minutes into the ride. Our coach bus breaks down on the side of the highway, and like all electricity goes out, everything. So we're in a black coach bus in the middle of the night, and we're on the side of the road. No lights are on, nothing. And there's like semis just driving 65, 70 past our bus. It's shaking and everything. And the
So,
state troopers had to show up and shine lights on the bus, like showing drivers like we're broken down the side of the bus. And what really stunk about it was the company we got it from. We couldn't call their Connecticut office to like send a bus to replace it, and they actually had to send the maintenance guy in a new bus from the office we got it from in Massachusetts. So we had to wait 2.5, 3 hours for the maintenance guy to drive out to us, get to us with the new bus, and then transfer everything over. And then get on the new bus and go home. But I think we left that day maybe at noon, and we didn't get back till 4:30, 5 in the morning because
Oof.
of how much we had to wait.
I think that Connecticut
oh,
office person who told you they couldn't give you anything is probably a Connecticut college grad and they were unhappy with y'all.
Probably because they didn't treat us too nicely before the game either. So I,
Oh,
oh man,
no fun.
but
Ross,
I mean, it
any
all went
that's
through
so.
it
crazy?
together.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Ross, any crazy stories for you?
Yeah, I mean, probably not as crazy as that, but it was our first year, so it was my sophomore year. But our first year in the tournament playing Hobart. So playing Hobart, we win, we stay the night, and so then we leave the next morning. We stop at a rest stop about an hour in, like guys eat drinks and candy or whatever it is, right? So we get in, coach is like, guys, 10 minutes. Okay, 10 minutes. And we're like, okay, sounds good. We're all coming back. Our AD came with us. AD Wiley came with us. And Tolan's like, everyone here? And we're just like, yeah. Just let's go. Like, let's just get home. And we had won. So everyone's happy, right? We leave the bus, we leave the rest stop. And about 5 minutes in, I get a call from Cam Black. Like, hey, what's up? And I like turn. I'm like, why are you calling me? He's like, I'm at the rest stop. And I'm like, oh no. And I look at a couple of the other guys, like the leaders. I'm like, who's telling Tolan? They're like, you for sure. I'm like, but AD Wiley's up there. So go up, tell him. AD Wiley doesn't say a word. He just like has his hands crossed and he just has like a dry smile on his face. Luckily we won, so he was happy. And Tolan's like, all right, turn the bus around. And we had to go another like 5 miles up, come about 10 miles back, and then we got him. And so it added about a good 45 minutes to the trip. But it was hilarious. I was dying when he called me and I turned and he wasn't on the bus. I was like, oh no, this is not good.
And hopefully he never lived that down the rest of his career there.
Oh no, never. Every time we would leave the bus, we had to make sure Blecker was on the bus.
That's funny. That's great. Um, let's talk a little bit about academics now. So the student and student athlete. For you, Zach, first, I think I saw your MBA, is that correct? I was looking at your roster page.
Yep.
You're
Currently
doing
I'm
the MBA program.
Yep.
Whew, that's rough. That's a lot to handle, but Can you just talk about maybe your academic experience at Endicott so far, or what it's been like being a student athlete there?
Yeah, so my undergrad, my first 4 years, I was a engineering major and a computer science minor. So the workload was a lot, but before Endicott, I went to prep school, and I think that really helped me with my time management skills to um, for college. So I mean, the workload was tough, yeah, and the practice schedule, but I mean, coach always worked with us. So if we had a class that went late, he prioritized academics before practice or anything else like that. So as long as you communicate with coach what your schedule is like, your workload, like they understand, like school comes first, and everybody here, I mean, the coaching staff, the athletic department, and the teachers, they all like school, they all say school comes first, which is true, but every um advisor that we work with and coach we work with really helps us balance school and academic life. And I think with that and time management really makes it easier for us to manage between academics and our athletic life.
That's great. Ross, how about you when you were there?
Yeah, I mean, it was very similar. Like, so I graduated in 3 years, and then had got my master's in my fourth year. So, which was awesome, and I loved every second of it. So, for me, like, I was in sport management, for my undergrad, and then and then in business administration for my master's. So it was, for me, it was awesome. Like, I use a lot of the stuff that I learned and like how to set up events, right? Like, I'm a hockey coach and also work in admissions. So like what I learned, especially like how to set up events, how to make sure it's ran correctly, make sure um, there's extra help, right? Like just little things like that. Like sure, but like we had like different projects that actually worked on that. So the ability to kind of look back and see like how, wow, like, yeah, it was, I went for sport management, but like it was a blast, and like it's a really good major, and it was super difficult. Like you might think it sounds easy, but it was actually pretty difficult, like in a good way, but and got the most out of everybody. So I loved it. And then of course the masters, it was good. But Tolan, kind of like you said, I never had an issue with it, but I know some guys weren't able to make practice. Like one of Josh Bowe was like he was only able to make like one or two practices a week his senior year, and RJ was awesome about it. He understood. He was able to get him ice during the day when he was able to skate. So Bozy was able to kind of skate by himself twice a week, and then practice with us the other days. So Coach Tolan, like hands down, no offense to anybody else, but he was hands down the best coach I've ever had. So and it's not just on the ice, but off the ice too. Like yeah, he would make, if I ever got in trouble, he would make me walk the dog or his dog at 5 a.m. On the beach. But you know what? Like I learned so much from him, how to just be a like more mature person on and off the ice. So it was awesome. I was pumped. I'm pumped that I went there.
I like that punishment, walking the dog at 5 a.m. on the beach. Yeah,
Oh,
that's great.
Now it's
I
babysitting.
does anyone do that anymore? Does he make anyone do that?
Not this year, but last year was a Zahn babysitting all the time.
Oh yeah, or like Habitat for Humanity. I had to do that a couple times on like a Saturday morning. I'd have to go, like not have to, but like I got in trouble, so he would send guys to go do Habitat for Humanity and like build houses on a Saturday morning. And of course you have a little hair on the dog, so you're like, oh boy, now we're hammering nails and we're moving everything. So um, but no, he always held people accountable, and that's the one thing that I really respected a lot about him. Like looking back,
He's very big on respect too. Just give
yeah,
people respect they deserve, and you'll be good.
he would always say to us, he said, I don't care if it's the janitor or if it's the president of our school, you should treat them with the same respect. And I mean, I say it to my guys now, like our 14, 15-year-olds. I say it doesn't matter if if it's the janitor of our school or if it's the headmaster of our school. Like, you should treat them all with the respect and say hello to them all the time and say please and thank you. So, I mean, I'm still kind of using everything that he taught us. So.
That's awesome. Those punishments are so creative. Usually it's like running or something workout related, but I love this Habitat for Humanity in the morning after a night out, probably walking the dog on the
Yep.
beach. This is great.
There's the occasional
Yeah.
thing on bag skate too, but
Okay. But
I think
you gotta,
we bag skated once, and so we played on a Thursday and a Saturday. We took 68 penalty minutes on Thursday, and he made us bag skate for 68 minutes on a Friday, and then we had a game Saturday. I'll tell you this for free: I tried not to take penalties after that. It didn't work that well for me, but other guys, it worked. It was insane. 68 minutes, we went wall to wall. It was awful.
oof. All right. Well, we'll stop making you relive that memory. Now let's do some story time now. So the first thing I want to hear is a funny or crazy but appropriate story. Zach, you can kick it off and then Ross, you can follow up.
well, I kind of told mine already, so let's have Ross go first, and I'll think of
Okay.
one.
All right, Ross, kick it off.
Wow, I should probably have this. I should probably have one in my bag. I'm just trying to think like PG-13. Oh, I got a good one. Okay, I got one. So we're at the mods, the trailer park, right? And one of our guys, Dan Kusarovi, is like, boys, who wants disco fries? So disco fries is basically poutine. So it's like French fries with gravy and cheese curds, right? So we're like, yeah, we want them, but we didn't want to walk all the way to the lodge, right? Which was probably about a 10-minute walk, give or take. So what he does, he goes, don't worry, I got it. He throws his rollerblades on, rollerblades across campus, gets the disco fries, about three of them, I want to say. Yeah, three baskets of them. And he's rollerblading back, coming over. There's speed bumps in the middle of campus, so his cars aren't flying. He's coming down the hill. He tells me he doesn't hit the first one, doesn't hit the second one, and he sees like three kids, and he's like waving to them and getting all excited. He's like, I got disco fries. And he's waving, and all of a sudden he's going too fast, and he hits the third one, and he catches air. He comes down, he catches himself so he doesn't really hurt himself. But he loses all the disco fries basically, except for maybe one. So he comes back. He's like, boys, we're all pissed at him. We're like, we thought you had four of them or three of, I think it was three. I forget the number. I'm going to say three. And we're like, we thought you had three of them. And he's like, I did. And then I waved and I hit the speed bump. So we had one of them. We're walking to whatever. We eat them. We enjoy them. We're walking on a Sunday morning to Callahan, where the dining hall is. We're walking by, and all of a sudden you look to your right. It's just a bucket full of disco fries. It's just on the ground. And you could see that some raccoons or animals got to it, but you could see a lot of the remnants of it. So even to this day, when I see them out in Boston or something, we always bring it up about the disco fries and the rollerblade.
R.I.P. disco fries. Zach, what about you?
All right.
All right, I thought of one.
Figure it out.
I did.
Okay.
So we had a kid from Belarus on our team. His name was Svet Kuczynski. He looked like Ivan Drago from the Rocky movies, like pretty similar to Ivan Drago. And we had to do community service as a team over winter break this one time, and it was at like a preschool or daycare, and we were helping clean and rearrange all the classrooms, but there was like we were in the baby care, like infant part, or I don't know, maybe 3-year-olds. And the bathrooms in those rooms are very, very tiny. Like it looked fake, but it was like for the little kids so they could get on the toilet and stuff. And Svet thought it'd be funny to like sit on one of the toilets, and he's probably 6'6", 6'7". So he's big dude. Just sat down, like, and the toilet collapses from the wall. And all this water just starts splurting out and everything like that. And I've been one that was just like, oh my God, like coach is gonna kill us. And so coach found out, but we helped clean up and everything like that. But it was funny because the next day coach only made Svet skate board to board a couple times in front of the whole team for what he did. But that was pretty funny.
So those were funny or crazy stories. But let's talk about just some favorite memories. You guys have obviously had success with the team, um, early program too, Ross, so maybe something there, but just some favorite
Yeah.
memories from your time with the program. So Zach, I'll have you keep rolling with some stories.
All right. Obviously my favorite memory, other than going to the Final Four last year, like the team atmosphere and the chemistry our team had last year was probably my favorite memory from that team. Again, like I think it was like 13 seniors graduated last year, and those are the guys that Kevin Craig and myself, that's the class we came in with. So my favorite memory from all those guys is our freshman year. All of us, all 15 of us were put in the same dorm right on the beach front, and we got to spend that whole year together living with each other. Got in a good amount of trouble together, but that brought us closer together. That's where we built all our chemistry. We were together 24/7. We were right on the beach. It was kind of a vacation kind of, but I guess whenever people ask my favorite memories, I mean, this went by in a blink of an eye, and I would give my left arm just to be back in that freshman dorm with all 15 of those guys again, because I'll never get to relive that moment, and I wish I was able to appreciate it more when I was living in the moment. But I would say that that year, freshman year, living with all those guys that went through it with me last year, going to Final Four. So that's my favorite moment.
Awesome. And Ross, how about you? What's one of your favorite memories when you look back?
Yeah, I mean, that was unreal, honestly, that you guys made it to the Final Four and you hosted. I mean, I know all the guys that came in when I played with them, like they're pumped and they're proud of you guys that you guys continued on with the tradition. And I mean, it like I know I keep harping on it, but it just shows Tolan with what Tolan does. But I know we were all proud of you guys and of what you did, and hopefully you guys get back there this year. But for us, like for me, like I thought it was so cool being able to say that we were the first program, Division III program for hockey at Endicott come in. Colin recruited us all with zero rink on. He would show us pictures of what the rink would look like, and we're like, okay, I guess we're coming here. But like the fact that we all came in, I think it was 25 of us came in together. And of course, like things happen, right? But we graduated together, and it was an unbelievable ride. And but for me, like just the ability to kind of like we stayed together in the summer. So after my freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, or no, sophomore, junior, senior year, we all stayed on campus or around Beverly. And honestly, like that's where we really built a good relationship, and we actually worked together. So I was the first one to get a job at Tupper Manor serving weddings and other banquets, and then brought Lloyd in, I brought Petrella in, and then all of a sudden by my junior year in the summer, like we had 10 hockey guys working there. So we would lift together in the morning, we would skate, then we would go play like roller hockey, we'd go to the beach, and then we would go work from like 4 to 10 p.m. And we were always together, one way or the other. And the cool thing was like even on weekends, right? Like sure, like we would be working a wedding on a Saturday night and be losing a weekend night. But like we were together and we would make the most of it, and we had a blast. Like I think it was so fun, like staying in the summer with the guys and training with them and just building memories and everything like that with them. It was awesome.
Very cool. And question for you, Ross, being that you were there when the program started, maybe you
Yep.
and your teammates got to kind of start some traditions or some superstitions or some things. Is there anything that you guys maybe unintentionally even tried to start with the program that maybe Zach can confirm or deny if it's still alive now?
Oof. Um, I'm trying to think honestly. Oh, well, our freshman year, our freshman sophomore year, we had one too many guys. So every day or once a week, depending, we would do shootout boy, and whoever lost that shootout wouldn't get a stall, and they would have to get dressed next to the goalie and next to the showers. So I don't know if you guys ever had to do that, but I'll never forget. RJ was so mad at me one day that I had lost, but he was mad at me about antics or whatever it was, like on the ice or not playing the right way, that every time we would have a shootout, he would come over and he would talk to me. This went on for 6 weeks. He would talk to me, and then all of a sudden I'm in the final four. So everyone else got to go 3 times at least, and I hadn't gone once in the shootout. So I had nothing, right? So then I'd get in the final four, and then all of a sudden Zamboni would come on the ice, and girls' team would have to go on, or Beverly would have to go on. So I stayed in that chair for 6 weeks, and I didn't have a stall, and I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!" And Tolan always jokes. He goes, "You played your best hockey when you were in that chair." And I was like, honestly, and it was funny. Like he brought up like the numbers, and like I think those are the best numbers I had was when I was in the chair. So like we always joke about it. And I saw him at James Winkler's wedding, and I brought it up to him, and he goes, "Oh yeah, that was on purpose." He goes, "You were being a real dink." He goes, "You were being a real dink those few weeks." So I had to make sure that you stayed in that chair, and I was like, "Okay, at least you can tell me that now."
There you go.
But it was funny. Yeah. So like that was, I don't know I'm assuming you guys don't have that many guys that you have to do that.
Yeah, we did.
Oh,
Uh, we didn't start doing that till last year towards playoffs. And we only did it for like a
okay.
couple weeks, but that was it. But now we call it
What
showdown now, but the loser just has to wear those pants. They're like
you guys still have
we
those
still
green zebra pants?
yeah.
So
I heard you had to wear them
if
to
you guys
class.
look at a picture, no, we never wore them to class, only for practice. And me being a wise guy at the time, I had to wear them the day before the game, but the day before a game was pitcher day. So I said, nope, gotta wear them. So I wore them on my senior day pitchers, or not senior day, but the pitchers during my senior year. I wore them. You can kind of barely see them because they kind of like threw me in the back. Luckily, I was tall enough so they could throw me back there, but I was a wise guy, and I threw those pants on. It was actually hilarious now that you say that.
I'm gonna have to talk to
And
Sean and see
and
if we
then
can dig those up.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, you have to see if you have to really look. Yeah, but you can see like the zebra pants.
You
Okay.
have to wear them over your shin guard, your socks, your pants, everything.
Yep.
Like it's just your jersey and then it's zebra pants. Like you don't see any like
Yeah.
Oh
hockey pants,
gosh.
hockey socks, nothing. Like you really
Hilarious.
stand out there.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's
What we
awesome.
what we
And
started
then
doing, so
go
the
ahead.
last 2 weeks, we actually started doing like we practice green team, blue team. Um we do a
Yep.
shootout at the end, green versus blue. And the first team to get 10 goals, the other team has to go do a polar plunge on Sunday.
Oh,
So we've been doing that the past couple of weeks, and that's fun. Green, I'm on green. We've won the last two, so I haven't done a polar plunge yet. So hopefully it stays that way. But it's fun
wow.
watching them jump in the water.
Where do you go? Right over to Birch?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And what's this I hear about? Are you guys not doing intramural softball anymore?
Oh no, no, we did the underclassmen on the team won it this past year.
They won it?
Yep.
Okay. Just making sure. Because
Yeah.
when I was there, we won three of the 4 years there. So just making
Yeah.
sure you
Well,
guys are still
the
holding it
senior
up.
class didn't want to ask the grad students to play on their team. We would have been their secret weapons, but
Wow.
they didn't ask us.
That was my favorite part of the fall. I loved it. We were, we, I, I'll never forget. I robbed a home run to win it. We won 1-0 in the championship. My senior year, we won it, and we went crazy. Even though we had a game the next day, we were more pumped, and we went out because we won that. We were like, we'll be all right. We'll be all right, and we were. We were fine the next day. But you know what? We won that. We won the intramural championship 3 or 4 years.
You definitely have that on your resume.
Exactly.
High
I
standards
actually
all
when
around.
I applied, yeah, when I applied to the Hillside job, they said any awards, and I said 3-time intramural softball champ. That's what they were most impressed about. I think that's probably how I got the job.
And how you're the softball coach now.
Yeah. Awesome. So let's get towards wrapping it up and do a little bit of chatting just about Division III. So obviously you guys are or were D3 student athletes. And sometimes that means different things to people, whether it's really good academics, which it sounds like it is at Endicott, or just the opportunity to do other things like maybe playing intramural softball. I don't think that's allowed at all divisions. So just what is your, or what did your, or what has your Division III experience meant to you? And Zach, I'll have you start it, and Ross, you can follow up.
Yeah. If anyone ever asked me if I would like go back and change some things I did or go look at other schools, I'd say no in a heartbeat. Endicott's by far the most beautiful school I've ever stepped foot on. I mean, we got 3 private beaches right on campus, right across the street from school. So like in the warmer months, you're on the beach all the time with your teammates, friends, whatever, just hanging out, having a good time. And Endicott's kind of a smaller school and it's kind of dominated more by athletes. So it's a tight-knit circle. You know a lot of people on campus. So it's kind of more of a big family style campus than I don't know, go to Boston College and there's 60,000 students and you'll see one person, never see him again. Like you're seeing the same faces every single day. So it's like a tight-knit community. Everybody supports each other, goes to games, hangs out with one another. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better place to go. And same in the classroom too. They're small classrooms. The teachers know every one of their students. They're always there to help them. They want to see their students succeed. And if it wasn't for a lot of my teachers' support, I wouldn't probably have done as well as I have in the classroom. So props to them. And I don't know, I'm very thankful for the teammates I met here, the friends that I haven't played hockey, like the friends that don't play any sports I met here. I couldn't be more thankful.
Yeah, I mean, I second all that, to be honest. Like the academics, like we talked about, academics were fantastic. Teachers were awesome. The small class sizes, right? Um, and I know a good majority of us, like especially hockey guys, either were at D1, had the ability to go D1, or were committed to Division 1. Tolan brought us all in, and you know what? I wouldn't change a thing. I always liked hockey and loved hockey. Maybe I wouldn't have had the same drive, right? If I had been sitting on the bench for my freshman, sophomore year, instead of playing all these minutes and producing and having a great team and having those wins and championships, right? And I say it to my guys all the time, right? They're always worried about playing at X, Y, and Z, like the top school. I'm like, just go somewhere where you're gonna play, right? And I'll say it, like I don't think I would have gotten played in the ECHL or gotten a small cup of like small cup of coffee in the AHL. Like I wouldn't have got that if I wasn't at Endicott and was able to learn from all the failure that not failure, but like the mistakes that I made, right? And I don't think I would have learned as much. And it's the best thing in my opinion. Like if you're a fringe Division 1, Division 3 player, to a school like Endicott where you're going to get a great education, it's an absolute no-brainer. Like, and I tell every single guy, if they're looking at Endicott, I said, please give me a call. I'll talk to you about the benefits of going to Endicott educationally, athletically, and just socially. Right? You kind of hit it on the nail. You know most of the people at the school, and if you don't know their name, you've seen them at a party, you've seen them in class, you see them at gullies, right? So you see them all the time. And sometimes I live in Boston, and I see guys that were on the baseball team that or that are walking around Boston, and he's then maybe or like a nurse is walking around Boston that went to Endicott, right? And I'll look at him, I'm like, how do I know you? Did you go to Endicott? And kind of just have a conversation like that. And it all stems from that small community, that small tight knit. I don't want to say brotherhood, but like that you have that brotherhood, sisterhood mentality at Endicott.
I love that. So my last question for both of you, and it's sort of a broad one and kind of asking you to look into a crystal ball, but we're 50 years down in Division 3, so this is part of the 50th anniversary celebration, this podcast, and there's many, many more years to come. So when you think about Division 3 and what you've been around as a student athlete and everything, what do you see or what do you hope to see for the future? And Ross, I'll have you start it. Zach, follow up.
Yeah, I mean, I hope to see like the continued success, um, like the ability for Division 3. A lot of people like look at Division 3 and they're like, "Oh, you played D3." It's like, no, I played D3. Like, there's a lot of good athletes. There's a lot of good, like you look at like the NESCAC schools, like schools like that, or you look at Endicott. The list goes on and on. Where maybe some of these kids are stellar athletes, and maybe they didn't have their major at a Division 1 school or whatever it was. But that's the best thing is I'm excited to see in the future how Division 3 continues to grow, not just athletes but people, right? And businessmen and businesswomen and people who are saving lives, as nurses or nurses, whatever it is. Like, they're there. And I always say, as an athlete, you learn a lot as an athlete, but especially as a Division 3 athlete, where you're working for every single. I mean, every single dollar you're working, right? Understand the power of a dollar, basically, because you're paying for school. You're not getting a scholarship at a lot of places, and you have to work and you have to earn any academic scholarship money, right? So I'm excited to kind of see that continue to grow. And like that's kind of where I'm at. And I think playing Division 3 and not being handed everything and spoon fed all the time with all this NIL stuff, I think it's the best thing. And it makes people grow up and mature a lot more.
Well said. Zach, how about you? What do you hope to see for the future?
Yeah, I mean, going off what Ross just said, I mean, not only that, like no scholarships and we got to work for it. I mean, we're putting in the same amount of work as these Division 1 athletes. We're in the classroom all day. We're in the weight room every day. We're in season 3 days a week still, but we're on the ice every 6 days a week, and we only get one off day to kind of relax and catch up on homework. We're putting in the same amount of work, so like I think Division 3 hockey is going in the right direction, especially after COVID too, because kind of backed up the player portal a little bit. Kind of forced a lot of guys to transfer out of Division 1 schools and go back to juniors or vice versa. And I think COVID kind of caused a lot of D1 players to come into the D3 program to uplift the program more, make it a lot like the game a lot faster, a lot more skilled, a lot better. And I think it's only going to stay that way because I think people are starting to recognize how competitive D3 hockey is getting, and a lot of professional players that are coming from it as well. I mean, Ross is a perfect example. I mean, last year, I think there were 3 guys that graduated last year that got offered, but they turned it down. They didn't want to continue their hockey career, but I mean, D3 is producing professional hockey players still. So, I mean, I think D3 hockey is going in the right direction, and I think it will keep going in that direction.
There you go. Well said again. That's the last question I have for you guys. Thank you both so much for joining. Like I said, I know you're both really busy this time of year, so I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to hop on here tonight.
No problem. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much.
To everyone listening, thanks for tuning into this episode of Small Talk. We post new episodes every week. To follow along with everything Division III, you can find us on social media at NCAA D3 or NCAA DIII. Make sure to join the conversation with us all year long by using the hashtag DIII50. Have a great day, and we'll see you for some more Small Talk next week.